Feel about your DMs with Drake being leaked to the world?
Oh, my DMs were never leaked. It's not my DMs.
There's a lot of people posting DMs.
I don't know why they
allegedly-
think
Y'all
about
was saying some weird shit, bro. I wasn't gonna say
Hold on,
nothing.
it-
Cause you my brother.
A
No.
lot of it
not
was
my DM.
grand, but some of it
Why
looked
was
like it
you
too,
comparing
right?
briefs?
No, what?
Kendrick Lamar just dropped his third diss in only 36 hours, and at this point, it's clear. He's out to bury Drake fast. Each track is like a knockout punch, and his follow-up to Family Matters, the venomous Meet the Grams, already had people gasping at how brutal it was. But Kendrick didn't slow down, not even close. With his next record, Not Like Us, Kendrick didn't just clap back at Drake's accusations, he completely flipped the game. He dragged Drake in front of the whole industry like a public execution, targeting not just the rapper himself, but also the circle that made him who he is. The very people who shaped Drake's rise are now being used as weapons against him. That's a brutal chess move. To understand how Kendrick set this trap, we gotta rewind to Drake's Family Matters. On that track, Drake came out swinging with wild accusations meant to rattle Kendrick and break down his credibility. But one of his boldest plays was trying to dismiss Kendrick's authenticity by name-dropping West Coast heavyweights who he claims are the real representatives of the region. Drake shouted out names like Chris Brown and YG, basically saying these are the guys that carry LA, not Kendrick. That move wasn't just shady, it was a straight-up attempt to strip Lamar of his crown on his own turf. And that's exactly why Kendrick's response hit so hard, because he wasn't just defending his name. He was coming for Drake's entire empire. Drake tried to flex by shouting out authentic West Coast artists, but Kendrick flipped that whole narrative right back in his face. The very first thing you hear on Not Like Us is the iconic production tag of DJ Mustard, the man who has dominated West Coast sound for the last decade. Mustard's catalog is packed with bangers, and his long history with YG makes him one of the most respected hitmakers out of Cali. So by hopping on a Mustard beat, Kendrick didn't even need to spit a bar to crush Drake's argument. It was checkmate before the verse even started. But Kendrick didn't stop there. He leveled up the trolling on this track. Over the bouncy signature Mustard production, he purposely raps with a flow straight out of the Bay, patterns and cadences that instantly call back to legends like E40. It's like he's reminding everyone that he is the West Coast, and he can embody its many styles better than anyone Drake name-dropped. That's cold-blooded. And the setup here is wild, because less than 24 hours earlier, Kendrick had already released a track so haunting and personal, it gave people chills. That cut was eerie, layered, and almost uncomfortable with how deep it went. Then, instead of backing off, he switched gears and came back with something playful, catchy, and still lethal. It's like he's showing Drake he can bury him in any style, at any moment. Kendrick takes a sharp left turn here, proving once again that his versatility is unmatched. He's ripping Drake apart over a straight-up West Coast banger, showing he can clown him in any style. And make no mistake, he wastes zero time diving back into lyrical destruction. Right out the gate, he mocks Drake like a man clinging to his last breath in hip-hop, while also firing off new angles so shocking they flip how people see Drake entirely. This isn't just a diss, it's a full character demolition. And here's the twist, Kendrick injects humor into this one. Instead of just rage and venom, he plays with tone, turning his bars into a comedy roast while still cutting deep. That shift isn't accidental. It screams confidence. It shows he's reached the point where he knows he's already winning, and now he's just flexing by dismantling Drake in every style possible. This is Kendrick going full Thanos, collecting every stone in his artistry and snapping Drake out of relevance one punchline at a time. What's crazy is how rare this is in rap battles. Usually, even the sharpest MCs lean on their safest styles when the stakes get this high. But not Kendrick. He's pushing boundaries, making every track feel like a new weapon. And in the first half of this song, even with its playful, almost comedic vibe, the bars still land like grenades. He's laughing at Drake while simultaneously burying him. Now that's ruthless. The themes here cut deep, because Kendrick once again drags Drake's strange history with young women into the spotlight, and he doesn't hold back. Between the punchlines designed to echo for years and the playful creativity in his delivery, Kendrick brands Drake and his crew as nothing less than creeps. The way Lamar does it is masterful. He keeps the tone light enough to make people laugh, but every bar is aimed at permanently staining Drake's name with this dark side of his past. That's humiliation wrapped in genius. And here's where it gets even nastier. Drake had tried to weaponize Kendrick's personal life by studying Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, picking at his marriage and struggles. But Kendrick flipped the playbook. He dissected Drake's own catalog, exposing not just his hypocrisy, but his shaky moral compass as an artist. Kendrick shows he understands the core of Drake's twisted persona better than Drake himself, and he rips it wide open for the world to see. While Kendrick has hinted at For All the Dogs, the real smoking gun might be 2021's Certified Lover Boy. That album had questionable bars sprinkled all over it, lyrics that many brushed off at the time because the Drake versus Kanye beef was dominating headlines. But now, through Kendrick's lens, those lines hit way different. They don't sound playful anymore. They sound disturbing, and Kendrick is making sure everyone connects the dots. This track gives us a front-row seat into Drake's mindset, his shaky philosophy, and the twisted logic behind the very things critics have dragged him for over the years. Kendrick doesn't just point it out, he flips it into a joke, mocking the entire Certified Lover Boy legacy by crowning himself the Certified Boogeyman. That one line alone flips Drake's proudest title into a punchline about his downfall. It's humiliating and clever at the same time. But Kendrick takes it further. He doesn't just stop at being the boogeyman. He flips the album title again, suggesting Drake is something far worse than a lover boy, a label so dark Kendrick won't even say it outright in the song. That silence speaks louder than words, leaving fans to connect the dots themselves. It's a psychological dagger. Even the cover art adds fuel to the fire. The imagery shows Drake's mansion, the infamous embassy, tagged up with the number 13. Kendrick's basically painting the house like it's on a notorious list that nobody wants their name on, alluding to sinister vibes tied to Drake's world. It's shocking, it's creepy, and it turns Drake's fortress into a symbol of scandal. What makes it even crazier is how Kendrick balances the disturbing themes with humor and slick punchlines. The jokes make it easy for the crowd to laugh along, but the darkness behind it all lingers in your head. And with the beat slapping the way it does, this diss doesn't just work, it feels like a hit record built to destroy Drake while climbing the charts at the same time. Kendrick widens the scope of his assault on Drake, turning the diss into a full-scale demolition. He tells Drake flat out that he should never set foot in Oakland again after disrespecting Tupac. Words that sting heavy in California, where Pac's name carries eternal weight. From there, Kendrick slices deeper, tearing at Drake's manhood and mocking him as less than every peer around him. Each punchline lands like a knockout, with name drops designed to leave scars, not scratches. One of the coldest moments comes when Kendrick reminds everyone of Drake's betrayal of his own mentor, Lil Wayne. According to Kendrick, while Wayne was locked up, Drake tried to slide in on his girl, a move that paints him as disloyal and sneaky. And Kendrick doesn't stop at Wayne. He throws shots over how Drake disrespected Serena Williams, warning him that since she's from Compton, that kind of shade could come with a heavy price. That's not just a bar, that's a warning with teeth. Then Kendrick digs into even darker territory, clowning Drake with hints about shady business deals and hidden vices he might be trying to keep buried. But the wildest part? Despite the heavy subject matter, Kendrick keeps it riding over a smooth West Coast bounce, flipping savage disses into a track people can still party to. And just when the crowd's vibing, he drops one of the most devastating nicknames yet, calling Drake not the 6th God, but the 69 God. That punchline is both hilarious and humiliating. It's sticky, and it's not leaving Drake anytime soon. And if that wasn't enough, Kendrick saves the nastiest fire for last. In the closing verse, he directly claps back at Drake's shots from Family Matters. Drake had tried to dismiss Kendrick's music and even labeled him a wannabe activist. Kendrick doesn't just respond, he torches Drake with bars so sharp they flip the insult into a boomerang, smacking Drake right back in the face. Kendrick flips the script by turning this diss into a straight-up history lesson, and Drake is the student getting embarrassed in front of the whole class. He reminds everyone about the oppression he's written on for years, pointing out how Atlanta was once a city where people who looked like him were exploited and taken advantage of. Then he brings it full circle to today, accusing Drake of doing the exact same thing. According to Kendrick, Drake has built his empire by latching onto the waves of Atlanta's finest: Future, Lil Baby, 21 Savage, Young Thug, Quavo, and 2 Chainz. Borrowing their styles to earn credibility he could never create on his own. That's a brutal accusation. Kendrick caps it off with one of the nastiest lines of the track. "No, you not a colleague, you a colonizer." That one word hit harder than a punch because it reframes Drake not as a collaborator, but as someone who exploits culture for profit. And it's a savage flip of Drake's weak bars from Family Matters. While Drake tried to clown Kendrick's artistry, Kendrick just clowned Drake's entire career path. Even if Drake brags about giving artists their first #1, Kendrick makes it clear the truth cuts different. Without feeding off Atlanta's innovators, Drake wouldn't even be in the conversation. Kendrick positions him not just as a fraud, but as an outsider who stole from a whole region to build his empire. And by putting Atlanta against him, Kendrick takes away Drake's favorite shield that he's boosted other rappers, exposing it as nothing more than style-jacking disguised as generosity. At this point, the scoreboard is clear. Kendrick just stacked another win. The way he clapped back to Drake's shots wasn't just creative, it was surgical. He's souring Drake's image not only with the public, but also inside the industry, where whispers from collaborators could turn into real distance. And while Drake might still pull flashy first-week numbers, Kendrick is playing a much darker long-term game that's way more dangerous. This isn't about streams, it's about credibility. Kendrick is planting doubt in fans' minds about whether Drake's music deserves their support, while also forcing other artists to question if working with him could backfire. Drake's long history of fallouts is now back under the spotlight, and when you zoom in on his Atlanta ties, the picture gets even uglier. The only reason he's been careful not to completely blow up his bond with Future is obvious. Future is still seen as the king of hip-hop's most dominant region, and Drake knows losing that connection could cripple him. The big takeaway here? Kendrick is stripping Drake of the very foundation his empire stands on: relationships and borrowed styles. Sure, Drake has millions of loyal fans who won't vanish overnight, but the rap game itself is shifting. Kendrick is actively pushing other stars away from him, making it harder for Drake to keep leeching onto the next hot wave. And considering his career has survived by riding the momentum of younger, trendier artists, this feud could be the moment that finally cuts him off. If Kendrick's lines stick, and they already are, the question won't just be how fans see Drake, but whether anyone in the industry even wants to work with him after this feud explodes. Now the bigger picture is starting to form, and it looks grim for Drake. This isn't just a rap beef anymore, it's a career-altering storm. Kendrick has dragged him through every angle: personal life, industry ties, his catalog, and even his manhood. And each time, Drake looks weaker coming out the other side. Fans are laughing, critics are dissecting, and insiders are whispering that the walls are closing in. The scariest part? Kendrick isn't even slowing down. Every new record feels like another trapdoor opening beneath Drake, and no matter how many tracks he drops back, the momentum is slipping away. What once looked like Drake's untouchable empire now feels fragile, like a glass house waiting to shatter. And Kendrick isn't just throwing stones. He's aiming straight for the foundation. The industry is watching closely. Future, Lil Baby, 21 Savage, these are the names Drake leans on. But after Kendrick's latest exposés, those relationships could start cracking. Nobody wants to be dragged down with someone branded as a fraud, a colonizer, or worse. And if those bridges burn, Drake might find himself standing alone in a game that thrives on collaboration. Even with millions of fans and endless hits, perception is everything in hip-hop, and Kendrick is rewriting Drake's image in real time. Instead of the sixth god, he's now the guy being laughed at, questioned, and doubted. That's a dangerous label to carry, especially when your career depends on staying relevant in the culture. So the question now is simple. Can Drake survive this level of pressure, or has Kendrick finally pushed him into a corner he can't climb out of? Because if things keep going this way, Drake's throne might not just be shaking, it might be gone for good. The fallout is hitting hard, and the ripple effects are everywhere. Fans aren't just debating anymore, they're flat out questioning if Drake's run is finally over. Social media is on fire, with timelines flooded by clips of Kendrick's punchlines, people quoting bars that make Drake look like a parody of himself. And the craziest part? It's not just fans. Other rappers are chiming in too, some with silence that speaks louder than words, others with sly likes and reposts that feel like quiet support for Kendrick's side. Inside the industry, things are shifting. Rumors are swirling that certain producers and artists are suddenly hesitant to jump on a track with Drake, worried they'll get caught in the crossfire of this feud. Drake built his career on alliances, but Kendrick's attacks are making those alliances look shaky. It's like the cool factor that kept Drake untouchable is slipping right through his hands. Meanwhile, Kendrick keeps feeding the fire, playing the role of executioner with a smile. Every new bar doesn't just wound Drake. It plants seeds of doubt in the culture about who Drake really is. Was he ever the sixth god? Or was it smoke and mirrors the whole time? That's the conversation happening right now. And once people start doubting your authenticity in hip-hop, it's almost impossible to shake off. The big question looming over all this: what happens next? Does Drake keep swinging back, risking more exposure and embarrassment? Or does he fall back and let the world think Kendrick broke him? Either way, the fallout is real. And the longer this plays out, the more it feels like history is being written right in front of us. Now all eyes are locked on Drake. What's his next move? Because at this stage, every step he takes could decide the rest of his career. If he fires back with another diss, the pressure is insane. It has to land perfectly, or it'll just prove Kendrick's dominance even more. But if he stays quiet, that silence might scream louder than any record, making it look like Kendrick finally broke the sixth god down to nothing. Either way, Drake is cornered, and the whole world knows it. Fans are split. Some are begging for a comeback anthem, while others are saying it's too late, that every bar Kendrick drops just digs the grave deeper. And let's be real, the expectations are sky high. People don't just want a response. They want Drake to drop something historic, something that flips the momentum. But history shows us one thing: when the pressure's this heavy, even legends crack. Meanwhile, Kendrick sits back with the advantage of control. He's dictating the tempo, deciding when to drop, and forcing Drake to play catch-up. That's the worst position to be in during a rap war. You're reacting, not leading. And the streets are already buzzing with the idea that no matter what Drake says now, it might never be enough to erase the sting of lines like colonizer or 69 God. Those stick forever. So the real drama isn't just whether Drake can respond, it's whether the culture will even care if he does. Because when the world starts doubting your impact, that's when your throne starts slipping for real. And right now, Kendrick has everyone wondering, did Drake already lose before he even gets the chance to clap back? So overall, Kendrick dropped a layered track that manages to humiliate Drake, shake the industry, and still bang like a club anthem. That balance, deadly disses over a beat people can dance to, is exactly why this moment feels historic for hip-hop. Kendrick isn't just winning, he's rewriting the playbook. And Drake now has not one, but two loaded missiles to respond to. The pressure is suffocating, and the question is simple: can Drake survive another exchange, or has Kendrick already stacked up too much of a lead for him to ever catch up? Now I want to hear from you. What do you think about this record and the insane pressure Kendrick is putting on Drake? Is this the end of Drake's image as we know it, or does he still have one last card to play? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. See you on the next one.